Welcome to another episode of Out of Spec Dave. We're here I am at Electrify Expo in New York, and I'm having a great time looking at all these cars. I even looked at boats today, but I got something really special for you. Check this out right here. It's the world's first flying car, and we're going to be talking to the folks from the Soar tour. It's a bunch of pilots that have gotten together, and they're using this plane from eVTOL, and I'm just like baffled, and they have a video about how this thing takes off. It's just incredible. So we're gonna ask Heather, Ron, and Tim to take us through this whole thing that is the future of flight is here now, folks. I know I was saying about boats. We're going right to the air. Well, Heather, thank you so much for coming on the channel today. I really appreciate it. This thing, first of all, looks so cool. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what it is that you're doing here at Electrify Expo.
Absolutely. I'm Heather Schertie. I'm the nation's first female flying car pilot. So I'm the first person to actually buy one of these things and fly it around as a free citizen. This is the flying car, the nation's first flying car. Well, what makes it a flying car? Here's what makes it a flying car. You don't need a pilot's license to fly this. You actually can get in this with 2 weeks of training. You go through 1 week on the simulator, and then you go through a second week where you're in the cockpit and you have to do 9 maneuvers to actually pass and get your certification. Once you're certified, you can take off, you can fly, go do whatever you want to do. You'll be free.
That's amazing. Tell me a little bit about the specs. I'm sure my audience is saying, okay, how far, how fast, what the heck? Tell me about the specs.
Absolutely. This is what's called an eVTOL, which is an electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicle. So each one of these motors is electric powered, and there's 2 batteries, 1 battery on each side. So I spin the motors when I'm doing a walk around. I want to check for all kinds of things. I want to check for rumble in the motor and make sure the motor is sounding good. It's amphibious. This is my float. It actually can land on the water.
Oh,
if
wow.
you look at the keel, keel looks a little bit like a boat.
Right.
And because it's a boat, it can land on the water, and I can take off and land in case of emergency, which is kind of cool. You look at the wing. This is actually an airplane wing. The camber of the wing, or the arc of the wing, actually creates lift. Okay, so because this surface is longer than this surface, as soon as you pass air across it, it creates a pressure imbalance and pushes the wing up. So it becomes like an aircraft wing, becomes a biplane. So this vehicle takes off vertically, tilts forward, and then becomes a biplane as it picks up speed. Mm-hmm. So my initial thing at the beginning of the day is to do a walk around. I want to check everything. I want to check all the motors. I want to spin them. I want to hear that sound of the motor, make sure it sounds good. I want to look at everything on the vehicle. This is my ballistic parachute. So if I feel uncomfortable and I'm over 150 feet, I can just pull that parachute, boom, up it will go, and I'll float down to earth just like a Christmas present. So then I look underneath. I'm checking my antennas down here. There's a landing camera. There's an antenna for my radios. And I look under, I've got radar. This is radar under here. And I check it, make sure it's good, make sure my vents look good. You know, everything on the vehicle looks good. And then I continue to walk around and I check the elevons. A conventional aircraft has ailerons, but this has these independently moving elevons right here. So I listen, I say, oh, that sounds really good. I like it. Good. So I check everything, check the fuselage, check my parachute cord, check underneath. Everything looks good. I go all the way around the vehicle, and when I'm done, I switch over to the cockpit.
All right, Heather, I don't believe you really fly this thing. I think you're all talk, no action.
Oh, yeah, we do fly it. Let me show you. First, I'm going to get in the cockpit.
All right.
Okay, this is how we mount the flying car.
Look at you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we come in. Usually I'll put on a helmet, but we're not going to put the helmet on right now, so I can show you what's going on. This is my cockpit, right? And I can show you the controls. right? Here's my controls. I'm fly by joystick. So I have two joysticks, right? We're going to talk about the safety features. I've got a ballistic parachute here. It works over 156 feet in the air. So if I ever feel uncomfortable or I feel like something's going wrong, I can pull the parachute and boom, float right down. These are my joysticks. I have two joysticks. If I'm left-handed, I can use this one. If I'm right-handed, I use this one. It only requires one joystick to fly. So I'll show you how to fly using this one. So if I go up, I push my thumb rocker up. If I want to go forwards, I go forwards, forwards and back. So we got forwards, back, up, down, left, right, and spiral, spin. Okay.
Spiral. You got me scared there for a minute, Heather.
Straight up in the air.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to take you through a landing pattern, how I take off and land the plane. So I'm going to take off. When I first take off, I take off in what's called hover mode. So hover mode means that all of the weight of the aircraft is going to be suspended by the propellers. So what it's going to do is it's going to tilt backwards like this, right? And all the weight of the vehicle, I'm at 85 degrees.
Wow.
Why am I at 85 degrees? Okay, if you want to get into some technical details, I'm at 85 degrees because it will give me lift, but it will also give me a little bit of forward velocity. It's just enough to give me some forward velocity.
I see. The angle of these propellers here, they're not where you're going to be going up, right? So that's really an interesting way to do it.
Absolutely.
And a much less complex way of accomplishing a similar thing.
That's a very astute observation.
Well, thank you.
This is called a tilt aircraft, okay?
Right.
So if you have a wing that rotates, there are so many failure points on that, right? The wing can rotate, the wing can fly off, the motor can fail, all sorts of things can fail in that whole transaction back to the pilot. In this, nothing rotates. There are only 18 moving parts on this. The propellers spin, the joystick moves, right? And the elevons move. That's it.
Yeah.
There aren't any moving parts that can fail. Now, at a price point of $200,000, you look at this for a military usage, and what you'll see is that you could have a helicopter like you said, the Osprey helicopter going in. How much does an Osprey cost? I don't know, $25 million?
Yeah, exactly.
What's the loss of life if something happens when it goes into a military field? 10 crewmen, 13 crewmen? I don't know. So it will go up, over, and it will come down, right? It'll land in the military field. You have a huge loss of life at stake.
Yeah.
You have a huge financial investment at stake. Now let's look at this. There's no moving parts to fail. There are versions of this aircraft that are under development that are unmanned, okay, unmanned aerial vehicles, where you could fly this in, land on a military field, and extract equipment, extract people, extract gear, all of that. So the cost, the loss of life is minimal. The risk to loss of life is very minimal.
Right.
The cost is very minimal. And this is such a better proposition.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Now, I'm familiar with the term ultralights. What can you tell me about the legalities, and do you need to have a license? Or I know you said 2 weeks of training. Who would give you the training? Would that be the company that sells you the plane?
Pivotal is the manufacturer.
Pivotal, okay.
Yeah, so they manufacture these. It falls into the ultralight category, which is a very specific category of aircraft that the FAA has designated for non-pilots, okay? Because you don't need to be a pilot with a pilot's license, they restrict certain things. One is you can't go over 62 miles an hour. So this is digitally governed. It won't go past 62 miles an hour, even if I push the joystick forward.
I see.
Right?
Okay.
So it's digitally governed. It also weighs 348 pounds. Now think about that.
I almost weigh 348 pounds. That's crazy.
Yeah, 348 pounds.
All carbon fiber?
It's all carbon fiber.
Right.
Tough as nails.
Yeah.
Okay, in between the carbon fiber, I have foam. The inventor of this was the inventor of memory foam, Marcus Lang. Yeah,
Wow.
so it's an interesting sort of tidbit of trivia.
That's very cool.
So it's very light. I mean, I can move this thing around with two hands on a cart. Steve,
Yes.
see the Cybertruck over here?
Yes.
Right next to me is a Cybertruck, and the reason it's here is because there's what's called a V2L port in the back. It's like a generator jack. It's like the jack you plug your dryer into
Yep.
and charge the flying car with the Cybertruck,
That's
which is
terrific.
hilarious.
That is great.
We can also recharge with Anchor Solix. We use the Anchor Solix generators,
Yep.
or a Honda generator. Any old generator is going to work. I can plug it into my 110 at home. It'll take 8 hours.
Sure.
But I can still do it. I can get it charged from any old plug. I want you to imagine for a second, as I pitch back and I'm going straight up in the air, I've got 348 pounds that has to be lifted off the earth.
Right.
I'm burning kilowatt hours. I'm burning battery life really fast. So, according to one of the technicians that I talked to last week, it takes 8 kilowatt hours per motor to take off in hover mode. But when I tilt forward and go into cruise mode, I become like a biplane.
Right.
And the lift is created by the wings, and it doesn't take very much power at all to power it.
Sure, that makes sense.
So then it's 2 kilowatt hours per motor.
You mentioned before it's about 20 minutes of flight time, somewhere around
20
there?
miles, 20 minutes.
20 miles, 20
minutes. And
minutes.
that's a function of that ultralight category of aircraft.
Ah.
Because there's a weight restriction. This only weighs 348 pounds. That's the maximum it can weigh.
Right.
Because of that weight restriction, the batteries can't be any bigger. So the battery is restricted by the weight restriction on the aircraft.
It's amazing. You got an iPad mini there,
Yeah.
and he was like, Dave, you realize we put a man on the moon with much less technology.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, you got a good point there.
We take this stuff for granted.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you think about it, you don't realize how powerful that really is.
This is an old Android tablet.
Oh, an Android tablet. Okay, there you go. Not even an iPad.
Yeah, when it's actually turned on, it looks like Google Maps with a couple of buttons down the side. Okay, so what comes on my monitor? As I'm flying, think about the things I need to know. I need to know how high I am above ground, so my AGL, or above ground level, right? I need to know my airspeed, so I need to know how fast I'm going. I also need to know what my battery percentage is left until 0. So it counts down from 100 to 0.
Right.
So, and I also need to know my battery temperature, because when I'm in hover mode and I'm going up, my batteries are getting warmer and warmer. I don't want them to heat up.
Right.
So I shift into cruise mode, boom, do a cooling lap. They cool right down. So I can watch that happen on
What
the
temperature
monitor.
do you like to keep the batteries at?
We like to keep the batteries under 100 degrees.
Okay, gotcha.
So when we land, we always land under 120.
Got it.
Occasionally, we can go into what we call the yellow zone or the red zone. The yellow zone goes up to 140. The red zone goes up to 160.
Okay, and 20% state of charge, you're on your way home, or are you landing?
No, 20% state of charge. We are on the ground.
You're on the ground.
Yeah,
Okay.
you want a 20% reserve in any
Okay,
aircraft.
20% reserve. That makes all the sense. Have you ever had to use the parachute?
Not the parachute, no. We have gone down below 20%, but only because it was a situation where we couldn't quite reach the airfield and we put down early.
Well, listen, we are going to invite you down to the track in North Carolina. And if Kyle gets in this, please don't let him go alone until we're very famous at Out of Spec for going way down low in the pack.
Yeah.
You know, like 3%, 2% state of charge.
Yeah.
But not when it comes to airplanes. Or flying cars, I should say.
Well, if it's a car, you can just stop.
Right, exactly.
Right?
That's
Pull
right.
over on the road.
And with the airplane,
You can't really pull over.
yeah,
right?
you can't really do it. When you fly, tell me about this this cover. I once went in a glider,
Yeah.
and I thought it was going to be so quiet, and the noise of the wind going over the windscreen was so incredible. It was actually quite loud. Tell me about what you feel inside this when you're actually flying it.
Okay, so I'm in my canopy. I have my canopy closed now. It's like a little greenhouse in here. I'm heating up because the sun is actually making me warm inside of here. So we don't like to close the canopy until the very last second, and then we take off. And then we get lots of good airflow coming through here in the various cracks around the canopy. It is incredible, the view. I've got a full 180 view, even more, because I can see down. I can peek down on the left and right and see down below me. So the whole thing pitches backwards and up in the air we go. And literally I am now an eagle soaring through the sky. It is absolutely incredible, right? So I have my monitor here. I'm watching my airspeed. I'm watching my altitude, right? And I'm flying by joystick. I'm just using my joystick to cruise around, right? So that's how flight works. And the canopy is absolutely incredible for a view. You want to
That must,
you
yeah,
wanna have it.
that must be crazy.
Yeah.
Do you always fly with a helmet?
I do.
You do.
I fly with a helmet just for safety.
Right.
I don't need to fly with a helmet,
Do
but
you have to fly with a helmet? Is there some sort of law or not really?
I don't think there's any law that requires helmets. We just all fly with
You
helmets.
just do, yeah.
We just do.
That
yeah,
makes-
but this thing, if you think about the weight ratio of this, if it only weighs 348
That's
pounds.
incredible. I mean, it's a very large, I mean, when I say very large, this thing is not tiny. I mean, it's
It's
a
big.
big aircraft.
Yeah, for 348 pounds.
How do
Yeah.
you get this from location to location? Are you telling me it fits
Well,
in that
this-
trailer?
This trailer is
Come
what we
on.
tricked this in on,
Are
yeah.
you serious?
We actually took the wings off, right? We unbolt the wings,
Right.
take the little yoke off, and then we put everything in the trailer. We got the fuselage and the wing,
That's amazing.
and off we go to the next site. So because this only goes 20 miles, we can't really go across the United States right now with only 20 miles
Right, sure.
in capacity. So as the distance and the range gets longer, we will eventually be the first team to fly from ocean to ocean. From
Oh, I
Atlantic to
love that.
Pacific.
I want to be there to cover that and make sure. Tell me about the other two people that I want to bring on, Tim, and I want to bring on Ron. And tell me a little bit about
Absolutely.
each one of them, because they're both like you, both amazing people in their own right. Tell me about them.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'm the first female to have a flying car. Tim is the first person, the first consumer to have a flying car. Tim is a smoke jumper, and he's done tons of missions in Africa, jumping into forest fires,
Wow.
parachuting, and he's lived his life in the center of danger. And so this to Tim is his idea of having less danger in his life.
Oh
And
my
so
goodness.
Tim is, without question, probably the most experienced eVTOL pilot on the planet.
Wow.
He has 1,150 flights, at least, probably more by now. And he's the lead member of our team.
Right.
And he has more flights in the Black Fly than all of the rest of us combined.
And that's the name of this plane, is the Black Fly.
This is called the Black Fly.
That's great.
Yeah. The next version of it is called the Helix. The company Pivotal puts out the Black Fly first.
I see.
It's not a prototype. This is a pre-production model, Wave 1. The next version is called the Helix, and that'll be out in 2026.
That's exciting. Well, Heather, thank you so much. What an amazing overview. I think we're going to be staying in touch, and we'd love to get you down to North Carolina track.
Absolutely.
I mean,
We'll
and
be
show
coming
you
to the
around,
track.
and you got to definitely check it out. But let's get Tim on
Okay.
camera. I'd love to interview him and have him tell me about his perspectives. Before we do that, though, what has been the most amazing experience or flight history in your mind? Like, what stands out to you? I can see the joy in your face, and it just is an amazing thing to watch you with the energy you have. But tell me, is there something that single-handedly sticks out?
There's two things.
Okay.
I'm a normal pilot, right? I fly little airplanes, little single-engine land airplanes. So I understand the training and what it takes and how to, be diligent and situationally aware. But I fly an airplane and I come down to the ground, and there are days where it feels like work, right? This thing, I get into it, the mechanics of the machine, the brain does the flying for me, and I'm just telling it directionally where to go. Up, down, forward, backward, left, right. Every time I fly this thing, I come to the ground and I go, whoa!
That's great.
There's
I wish
not-
you enjoyed life, Heather. You got to learn how to enjoy life. That's amazing,
So
Oh,
that's one thing.
that's one thing.
The
Okay.
second story I would say is the very first time I flew, I went up into the air and I did a cruise lap, 250 feet. And this is my first time flying. Okay, this is a single seater. There's no safety net for someone to take the controls
Right.
if I do it wrong. So I
Right.
have to do it right. So I go up in the air, I get up to 250 feet, my first cruise lap, and I look over at my wing. And right off my wing, right there, 5 feet away, 10 feet away, is a red-tailed hawk.
No way.
And the red-tailed hawk soared with me
Oh my goodness.
all the way around the lap the very
Isn't
first
that
time that I
incredible?
went. It was mind-blowing. It
Wow.
was so cool.
That is
And I said,
surreal.
Yeah.
I mean, oh boy, that's incredible. Well, Heather, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I look forward to staying in touch with you. Let's get Tim over here and talk to him.
Absolutely.
I mean, you just built him up. I hope he delivers. Let me see you get out of this
Tim.
thing.
He's coming from this direction. So.
Okay. How do you get? Let me see you get out of this thing.
You want to see me get out?
I want to see you get out
Here
of this
we go. Well, I'm going to jump over the Yeti, but here we go.
Look at you. Amazing. Tim, welcome to the channel. This is Tim Lum, and you're far away from home, boy. Washington State, huh?
I am. It took a little while to get here, but it was pretty fun.
Well, welcome to Long Island.
Thank you.
I could say we're not quite as pretty as where you live. You're up what, in the Cascades area?
Yeah, up in the North Cascades, outside of Winthrop, Washington.
That's amazing. Well, listen, not to put any pressure on you, my friend, but Heather spoke very highly of you, being a bit of a pioneer in this space of being the guy with the largest number of flights. Tell me about just a little bit, if you don't mind, your career and how you got involved with this pivotal aircraft that you're out here showing today.
Yeah, I got involved with Pivotal. They just came out of their R&D kind of hiding in secret, their skunk works, and they posted a couple of internet videos during COVID. And I came across one. I met up with 5 of them at a trade show, and they told me, we're looking for a unicorn. And then I said, I can be your unicorn.
Right.
I sent them my CV, didn't expect to hear anything back. And then they said, next time you're in Northern California or the Bay Area of California, stop on by. And I found out when I stopped by that they selected me to be their first customer in their early access program.
Wow. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So you're an owner of, do you own this exact plane?
I own this exact airplane. They
Okay.
delivered it in June of 23, and I have just short of 1,200 flights on this aircraft right now.
That's impressive. So tell me a little bit about this plane, this company, in terms of, like, what is the aspiration of, you think, this class of aircraft? And Heather did a great job of explaining a little bit about the safety and a little bit about the technical. But I'd like to maybe first have you start out telling us a little bit about, in generic terms. And then if we could go a little bit geeky, I'd love to sort of get you down into the weeds about the technical aspect.
Generic. You know, what you see behind me is the Blackfly aircraft. It's a version 3 of this type of aircraft. It's a tilt body. So what that means, it has very few moving parts, yet it takes off and lands like a drone or like a helicopter, but it flies like a biplane for 90% of your flight.
Wow.
So we all heard about the military has an Osprey, it has a tilt rotor, has a lot of moving parts. This aircraft behind me has 18 moving parts, yet it does so much. And it's very easy to produce, reproduce, and to make bigger, faster, and stronger.
Right.
Pivotal is looking at 3 different markets to put this in. One of them is for personal people right now, like the ultralight version behind us. Has to weigh 348 pounds or less, carry 1 person, flies 62 miles an hour, and that's all FAA related. If you're using the same aircraft for EMS or public service, you don't have those restrictions. The U.S. Air Force, through their R&D branch, leased 8 of these for a year, and they have requests to make it much bigger. A few more moving parts, but imagine a hybrid system that jet fuel is running an APU. The APU is making electricity to have your distributed propulsion, so your 8 motors. And imagine 2,000 pounds, 300 miles at 150 knots.
So using the jet engines more as a generator to then create so it's still an electric vehicle, electric plane, but you're creating the energy in the air, the electricity in the air.
So that's the other extreme,
right?
Where you would have essentially a replacement to a military rescue helicopter,
right?
And with very few moving parts,
right?
Yeah.
And what's nice about that from a risk standpoint is you'd have, as opposed to putting 5 or 6 people into a plane, you can decentralize the risk across many of these. If you have to fly into remote areas or what have you.
You can, and they even have a word for it. They can make them attritable, meaning that they're so inexpensive to produce, a one-time use would work for the right mission.
Right.
You can also, I was an Air Force pararescueman in the Air Force for a lot of years.
Right.
We would fly 7 people in the lead bird, 7 people in the trail bird, and go and pick up patients behind enemy lines.
Wow.
That's 14 souls you're risking.
That's amazing.
And 2 aircraft that cost $25 million a piece.
Yeah, incredible.
And they don't have a lot of those.
Right.
And you could fly the craft that I just described without a pilot, lands next to a medic at the battlefield. The medic loads up the patients and hits a return to home button.
Right. Tell me about the motors and the batteries. Let's go into a little bit of a technical deep dive, if you don't mind, Tim.
Yep. On the technical deep dive on this, there's 18 moving parts on the aircraft behind me.
Okay.
There's 8 motors. Each motor run off of 60 volts. It doesn't move. The only thing it does is spin. It doesn't pivot at all. It produces 125 pounds of thrust. So the 8 motors are 1,000 pounds of thrust.
Okay.
They are fixed on the wing. The wing is fixed on the fuselage. It doesn't move. The other 8 moving parts are what we call elevons. They're on the tips of each wing, and they're split. So if one fails, they can do, so the part elevator, part ailerons.
Mm-hmm.
The other 2 moving parts are a joystick, a left-handed joystick, a right-handed joystick. It's all operated by one joystick. One's for backup.
So redundancy.
Redundancy. It has 4 radar altimeters for the automated takeoff and landing. Again, redundancy. They're all aimed a little bit different. It makes that redundant and repeatable. It has 3 flight computers. You only need 1 flight computer to fly. It has amphibious hull, amphibious outriggers. So you can land on the water, on the snow, on the sand, on the grass, on the asphalt, on the gravel. As long as it's a certain pitch restriction, you're covered. It has a ballistic parachute. If you're 160 feet off the ground with some airspeed, that's enough for it to arrest your fall by the time you hit the ground. If you have one motor goes out, the opposite motor will turn off. It balances the aircraft. You can easily fly with 6 motors. After that, it depends where the motors are at.
Wow. Tell me, how much of a runway do you need actually to take off or land?
You need 20 feet by 20 feet.
20 feet by 20 feet?
20 feet, 20 feet.
So theoretically, could you land on top of a skyscraper in New York City?
If you get approval, if it's class
Right. I understand. It's probably not approved to fly there, but I mean, 20 feet by 20 feet, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's easy.
That's incredible. Yeah. Let's talk about your flight experience.
Yeah.
What has been the most harrowing experience you've had flying this plane?
The most harrowing experience when I first got the aircraft, they had the safety tolerance so tight, is that you would literally have to stand on one foot, tap your head and rub your belly and spin in a circle to pass the safety checks to allow you to take off. Whether it being an IMU needs to heat up or battery needs to heat up. The actual flights, once you're off the ground, has been pleasantly boring. But the flights are incredible because you get to tell the aircraft where to go.
Right.
And the flight software has not lost a hiccup or has not hiccuped. On this one, they removed the return to home button when they started giving it to customers like me.
Okay.
Yeah. But once you've decided to fly, you've done all of your due diligence, like is the airspace clear? Are you within weather specs? Is just on and on and on. Have you had enough sleep? Once you decide that you have done your checks, it passed all the checks, you've jumped on one leg and pat your head.
Right.
Did a little dance to the weather gods. Once you decide to fly, it is as simple as consenting that you're going to fly, confirming all of the safety parameters are met, and then you actually hit a button. Do you want to take off to hover, take off to cruise? You hold a thumb rocker up for 5 seconds and it say, I'm going to take off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then once it hits 0, you take off.
That's incredible. All right, Ron, How's
Hey.
it going, my friend? Tell me a little bit about your involvement with this electric plane. Is that or we call it an electric car?
So my buddy Tim gave me the gift of flight. We all think flying would be fun and cool, and a thing that would be like really cool to do. However, I really never made any progress towards it because I've been interested in other things. Yeah.
How often do you get to fly them, and how do you get to fly them if you don't own one?
Yeah, I get to fly it through Tim Lum. What we'll do is we will fly at his house.
Okay.
Or we will drive and bring the plane with us, or bring the flying car with us, bring the plane with us, and then fly in different areas.
Right.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so we were driving through Montana, stopped, assembled, flew, disassembled, and then went and got dinner and drove to our next location that we were going to fly. So
you're able to put it all in that trailer and just go from place to place. And, and he tows it with his Cybertruck, right?
he does. And about 30-ish minutes, when you know what you're doing, to assemble and disassemble.
Right. The plane has 2 spots to charge the batteries.
Yes.
Okay, and so one of them is you're charging a vehicle to load, vehicle to plane in this case, from the Cybertruck directly into the truck.
Yes.
Okay, and then you've got that inverter there. That it's an interesting. I just want to show the audience here. This is an interesting adapter. It's not like a J1772 or anything like that, and that actually will then go inside this little port right over there. Okay.
Each prop has its own battery.
Right.
And the charging ports are on each wing.
Okay, so you have 2
And
charging ports, one on that wing and one on this wing.
Yes.
I
And
see.
the charging ports will charge the props that are on that wing.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you're able to charge on one of the wings directly from the vehicle to load off the Cybertruck.
Yeah.
And then you're able to connect up this Anchor battery pack right here to the other wing. So you're able
That's
to charge
right.
both wings at the same time.
So
Both
therefore you
batteries,
can get more
battery
charge
packs.
in twice as fast.
Got
now.
it. Great. Well, Ron, thank you so much for coming on the channel. I'm gonna bring I don't know where Heather went, but I'm gonna have her come back on the channel because I want to find a little bit more about this Soar tour, and then we're gonna call it a video. All right?
Sounds good.
All right, my friend. All right, so Heather, welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome back. I had a great time with Ron and with Tim. What great guys. But you know what I forgot to ask you about was a little bit about the Soar tour. What can you tell me about that? Because first of all, great name, Soar tour.
Yeah.
It sort of rhymes, which is great. And it says the first flying cars touring across America. Talk to me, girl.
Yeah, the Soar Tour is a group of pilots, okay? So it's myself, Tim, Ron, and whoever else we can rope in from these early access, pilots that have gotten involved in the program. We're going across the nation. So right now we're doing all the expos, the Electrify expos. So we've got 6 cities with the expos. Then we're doing the San Diego Car Show in January and a whole bunch of more things in between. So basically, Tim is constantly on the road, constantly going from place to place. We meet him in various cities, and we use whatever aircraft is there. Sometimes it's a Pivotal aircraft, sometimes it's Tim's aircraft, sometimes it's my dad and my aircraft, 007. Ours is called 007.
That's cool.
Yeah, so the Soar Tour is just a tour across America.
Okay.
And we're at thesoartour.com. So go and visit thesoartour.com because the antics and all of the adventures we're on and all of the things that happen are just starting to roll into the Soar Tour, and all the social media links are there.
That's great, Heather. You are living some life right now. I'm jealous. I want to go on the Soar tour.
Hey, we're going to come to your place.
Oh, I
and
know.
we're gonna
We
fly
can't wait.
there.
I know.
You're
Kyle,
gonna
I
be a
texted
stop.
him. He's excited to meet you guys down in North Carolina. Thank you so much for coming on the channel.
All right.